When I made my previous Shadow Isles video, Viego's color story was not yet released, so it gets the honor of having its separate video. Before getting into it, I wanna point out how Jared Rosen has confirmed that Viego's kingdom was called Camavor. In his voice lines, we learned that it was previously called Camaveia, which was changed due to its similarities with Camaveia, which means old bed in Brazilian Portuguese. The voice line has since been removed. As I mentioned, Camavor is located somewhere east of the current Runeterra map, on a continent or island that we haven't seen yet. Jared also confirmed that this was in fact Vladimir's original kingdom, but now Viego's story, simply titled She. The story starts with the explanation that each time Viego thinks of Isolde, she never looks the same. He notices changes in her eyes, in her cheeks, her hands, and in her clothes. She was never the same, but always the same. Never there, but always present. A ghost of the heart Viego no longer possessed rent open when he slammed his blade on the bottom of the world, sending a tremor across the entirety of the Isles. To his left was a painting that once depicted him and Isolde, but he couldn't dare to see her again, so he tore her from it, leaving only the foolish young king. He could barely remember his old kingdom. In his memories, he stepped out upon the sandstone streets and only saw Isolde before him. Every fresco on every wall contained her, within a painted world that only he could touch, only he could see. Yet, when he went to reach for her, the illusion broke away, and he was here, surrounded by the putrid waters that had stolen her all over again. This story gives us more insight into the mist that pours from his heart. It is a manifestation of Viego's sadness. The spirits contained within are not controlled by it, just trapped. The mist, however, searches non-stop for Isolde. In this story, the mist finds a worn-down music box, a gift from Viego's wedding day. Where exactly, we don't know. The story tells us it is in a modest city at the edge of a river, surrounded by a great wall, located in the mainland, far past Ionia and Bilgewater. So it's either in Viego's old kingdom or somewhere in Valoran, likely one of the many small kingdoms like the ones seen in the cinematic after victory. This music box called out for Viego. He went to the city with the mist and its wraiths, killed everyone who opposed him, including the warrior king of the city, whose spirits rose behind him and under his control. I should also mention that Viego wanted the king to become his vassal, which means servant, the story says, but as a fellow leader, as a skilled warrior, perhaps he could make a better vassal than hungry spirit. Stop, says Viego, raising a single hand once more. The mist, the wraiths, the auras, the fighting, everything seems to freeze on the ruined king's command. Behind you is a treasure you could not fathom the importance of. I will see it return to me, and in exchange, you will serve me personally. As you can see, unlike the other spirits from the Shadow Isles, Viego is much more sane and capable of having a normal conversation with someone. Viego is not like the other spirits from the Isles. This also seems to be a hint that Viego may want servants for something, perhaps help to find Isolde, perhaps an army. But it seems that there's something more, as the king replied, "If I give you this treasure, will you spare the city?" And Viego was disappointed by the answer, and killed the king, who rose with ghostly greens and blues throbbing from between the cracks in his skin. This makes me think that perhaps Viego wanted the king to serve him alive. For what? Again, I'm not quite sure. He acquired the box, it whispering something he couldn't quite hear. It seemed possessed by grief, by boundless, immeasurable sorrow, but Viego simply holds it before his eyes, imagining the soft smile that will surely dance across Isolde's face the day he sees her again. What have they done to you, my love? Do not worry, he assured the music box. I will find you. It is simply a matter of time. He then left, as the city was devoured by the wraiths. We don't know who he was mentioning. If we follow my previous theory of how Isolde's soul may have been split into various parts, it's very possible that one of these parts is inside this music box, and that's why he was speaking to it. It would also explain why it was possessed by grief and sorrow. I also want to point out that the painting next to him is likely something he and the mist found, and not something that was there before the ruination, just like the music box.